Hey there, welcome back to Arms Trade Tycoon, episode 13. Today's focus is the IS-2. Let's see how I can make some adjustments to that tank to make it better. For now though, we first have something else to do. I have completed my production cycle of the M4 Sherman Bobblehead, and unfortunately there's slightly too many to send them out with the Ryder & Co. cheap supply company. So we'll have to go with the Richelieu company. And that'll take them about 10 days in the worst situation, which I have plenty of time for. So the Germans ought to be happy with their new tanks. What I want to do is have a look and see if I can improve my reputation with the Germans a bit more, so that I can actually start hiring any of their admins. Right now the Germans don't like me as much. Am I going to get better luck with the Americans? Yeah, 198. We're making some slight progress there. If I can get an American contract, I can probably push that higher. Because at the moment, I don't really have enough administrators. I got 5, and I can definitely house some more. The Americans do have a contract out there. The Germans have another contract. This is 68 tanks. And the Americans want 45. This is going to push the... Oh, that's cancellation fees. Expected revenue is 45. The Dutch won't like that. The Germans won't like that. No, that's fine. The Germans... I'll just go with the Americans. Let's see if I can get one of them. I'm thinking it's going to be the Sherman Bobblehead again, because it's just a phenomenal tank for what they need it to be. And based on money cost versus revenue, I'm making, well, more than 60%. Well, basically more than double on that tank. Going to give me an 83% reputation boost, which I like. So let's get that. That's undoubtedly going to get accepted because it's such a good tank. So I can already start production. And they wanted how many? 83. Good lord, I might have overpromised them slightly. Okay, 83. So that breaks down into 20, 25, 25, 28. Give or take. No, actually it doesn't. God, I'm awful at maths. 3 times 27 is 81. And they want 83. So we're going to go 1 extra here, 1 extra there. And this is going to be 27, which I cannot build. Okay, fine. Can we get 10? Nope. We can get another 8. Alright. Let me order some additional materials. What I don't really like about the game presently is that you kind of get sort of shoehorned into just being very good at one type of production. Just one kind. And that means you're always building the same tank. It's... it's not that interesting, as far as I'm concerned. Let me build IS, let me build the Tiger, let me build all other sorts of things. Okay, great. Were any of my tanks involved in that? They were not. Oh, they were, actually, on the British side. Experience bonus, marvelous performance. Here we go. The tank's overall excellence on the battlefield was a sight to behold, contributing to a resounding victory of our valiant forces. How about that? We're going to get some fame updates for the T-34 V1, I think? Jeez, that's an old tank. I've built that 4 or 5 years ago or something. Deployment. Experience bonus, 15%. Experience bonus, minus 15%. Okay. Recon. Recon bonus. Nice. Is this going to be the same every time? No. The tank's remarkable mobility proved to be the very essence of British prowess on the battlefield. Yes, because British tanks were known for their mobility. Outmaneuvering swiftly through treacherous terrains and ambushing the enemy. How about that? Targeting. The tank's remarkable ability to aim at the enemy. That's not a remarkable ability. You are supposed to be able to aim a tank at the enemy. That's kind of what it does. Hit. Partial success. The tank's weapon accuracy was simply impeccable. Can you stop blowing smoke? The tank's deadly rounds struck the enemy targets true without a hint of ricochet. Yeah, that's probably because I have an enormous amount of anti-ricochet score on the gun that I have in there, which is the 6-pounder. Pen. Exceptional gun and ammunition combined proved devastatingly effective as the rounds penetrated enemy armor with unwavering precision. Good lord. Was there any no pen? None. They penned the enemy armor every single time. So a T-34 is beating out a Panzer IV. Okay then. The tank's rounds tore through the enemy's units with unrelenting force, leaving a wake of devastation in their path. We had 0 wounded. We lost 0 tanks. Damn. We didn't have to repair anything because we didn't have any wounded. The tanks proved to be a testament to the British ingenuity, excuse me, mine, as our skilled engineers worked tirelessly to restore many... No, you didn't, because none of them had to be repaired. Shh. Propaganda, I say. Anyway, let's see if they're going to be as happy about the IS-2. Because that is something that I'm interested in getting a design for. Where are you hiding out? Here. Alright, IS-2. The IS-2 is considered an assault tank. So let's see if we can make something that specs up to that. Protection right now, pretty decent, but they currently don't like the spall resistance. Okay. Let's work on that. Let's make sure this thing has enough spall resistance. Because if it gets hit by something big, like a Hesh round, they will probably see insides of the tank come flying off. Which is, of course, less than ideal. What are we currently using? We're currently using decrementally hardened steel, which is going to give me 20 spall resistance. This is just going to give me more. And that should instantly fix it. There we go. We just jumped 15 points. I think that Wotan cemented steel is going to be worse. 260. Yeah, this is definitely the best. Alright, what are we going to go for here? We need a mix of kinetic resistance and spall resistance. This is not going to move frontal thickness at all. So we're going to go with the highest one. Spall resistance 16, shock resistance 9, kinetic resistance 9. And we're up to 310 already. Interestingly, they care nothing about any of the other stats. But I do. Especially when I'm able to save on crew members, because that might make my life easier down the line. This is going to work against me in transportability, but they don't care. So we're not going to push anything into that. Then man hours becomes an interesting factor, but for like 50 or 60 man hours, I don't really care. Radio. This is where I can shave off 2 commander points and a driver point. So let's do that. Over here we have the rounded hatch. Again, man hours isn't that spectacular, so let's go for the large hatch. I think that'll be fine. 24,504, 515, 515 again. That's the unitary hatch. Yeah, I'll take that one. Okay, we don't need any additional ammo stowage, and we got low profile ventilation. Again, nothing really impacts these things, because there is no spall resistance or no other stats that they really care about. 2415, sorry, 515, 522, 525. Anybody higher than 525? We got 526, sold to 526. Save. If I really need to, I can up the frontal thickness of this tank, but I think that's going to make it unnecessarily heavy. This thing is already 24 tons. If you push this to 137, you're looking at 33 tons. If I make this thing a brick, it's 67 tons. Just the chassis. Good lord. I'm not sure we can drive that. Is there a weight limit on this thing? There probably is a desired weight. Yeah, 44 tons. That's what they're willing to accept. Hold on, the IS is going to be lighter than the Tiger? Really? Because the Tiger was what, 51 tons. Whoa. Okay. Well, then again, they seek a lot more protection from the Tiger. Because they want to have 422. Actually, they want to have more protection here. Oh well. Throw on the turret. Which turret, however? Which turret? I can get the universal, which is going to give me a lot of protection stats. 299. If I give them their base turret, it's going to go to 290. Crew requirement 3, crew requirement 5. That's something I don't really like. So I'm considering building another version of the large universal Mark 446 to make that a little bit more effective. Give me another version of it. I want to see if I can save on some crew members here. Why are they requiring 5 people on this turret? Do I not have a radio or something? I do. This is going to shave off another point from the driver, which I'm already saving some work. Let's shave off some point for the gunner. No, you're not a breakthrough tank. You're an assaulter now. And the assaulters are... yeah, they're not exactly going to get sold to the Americans, though. Save off a gunner over here. You're not really going to save any crew points here, are you? It's just going to be protection. Well, what I can do with this turret is make them a little happier about spall resistance. They already got the best hybrid steel, so I don't need to change that. What about this? Fully welded assembly. We can push that to go for higher spall resistance and higher kinetics. And judging by what they seek, I think that's exactly what they would like. So save that and go back to the design. Now, the gun. Do they care about firepower a whole lot? They do. They want it to be damaging, they want it to be spall penetration, and they want it to be anti-ricochet. There's something refreshing. How does that gun do that I built? Let's say this one. Anti-ricochet is good, spall pen is good, damage can be boosted. So we already got that. I don't need to engineer that again. Because I'll just make it more expensive. I know what I'm like. If I go for a gun that requires fewer people, such as this, you're looking at a lot more anti-ricochet. So we're going to go with that big, fast gun. And especially if I add fast shells, I should be able to get a lot of damage from that. Okay, weight. Not that bad. Tracks. What are we getting? The Gorinch. That's their own track. And they don't really care about it that much. Just, they want machine guns on this thing. Hold on. If I add this... I'm not sure if this will work, but I'm thinking this is going to allow me to add more machine guns. It's just not really going to add a big gun. So, yeah. Your firepower hard is going to be awful. But... wait, I thought I could add more machine guns here. Never mind, this is not going to work. Kick that turret out. Let's just go with that other turret. Okay, so probably this gun, that machine gun, which makes them very happy about firepower soft. This can be fixed, this can be fixed. It's just what sort of engine are we going to use? Can we put the German engine in there? This one? With the 1 crew requirement? Yes. I got a nice power weight ratio bonus. The thing is 50 tons over, so that's not that bad. The problem, however, becomes I still need to add crew. So they're going to be a little bit unhappy about that. Tough. The driver can double as a gunner. Don't ask me how that fits. We're going to go with a full-time loader and a full-time mechanic. And that should make them happy. Stats. Spall pen. That's something I can do with an expendable. Because I got 8 spall pen there. I got 14 spall pen here. And that's also going to add a lot of damage. So we're 217. Do I have anything else with spall pen? 8, 4. Or something that does a lot of damage. 12. Yeah, I'll take a 12. Oh, 14 increased payload shells, which is also another 10 spall pen. And this is not as much spall pen, but it'll... well, actually it is. The shrapnel mine shell. Yeah, that's a very, very happy camper. Shock pen is what we need on the machine gun. I probably have some of those. That's the zigzag thing. 5, 7... 7. Done. Something else you want? Yeah, just additional spall pen. I'm already at 14. Do you even have spall pen on that? Yes, you do. All-purpose incendiary. 6. Bring that. And then, as they don't really care for either of these, I might be able to run the tank without. I think. But whatever. Interceptor fuel. And we're going to go 3, 2. It's not that weird of a tank, this thing. Which is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. This is going to make it a bit worse for man hours. See, man hours and costs are always a big thing. If I can shave off some crew requirement here, that'd be great. So we're going to clone the tracks and see if I can shave off some crew requirement there. Because that could make the tank a little easier to use. What do we need for this? No, where's the crew? Here. Heavy Christie suspension is going to give you -2. This thing can carry 6,200. This can carry 4,000. I believe I had more than enough on the track anyway. That's going to save me a couple mechanic points. That's going to save me 1 mechanic point. And as for these, like, I don't really care about them. They're just going to make my tank more expensive. 525, 477. Yeah, let's go with 477. And over here, the solid idler, 180. I can go to a 171. It's not really going to move the needle that much, but hey, every little bit can help. Yeah, we can still carry that. And I actually have too much in the form of a mechanic. The commander's kind of overworked, and I think that came from the turret. Because I put the different... What was it? I put something else on there. Is that the radio? Yeah. I need to put that on the commander. So we're going to push this radio. And that should fix my commander issue. Yeah, commander's now good. Driver's good. Gunner is half. Loader's good. Mechanic. I can't very well shave off additional things from that. Can I shave off additional users from this? Maybe. Because I got the 17-pounder with 3 people on it. If I can put 2 people on that, that can save some gunner space, maybe. Or I can have the... I can't really have the mechanic double as a gunner. This German gun wasn't good enough. Okay, make me a clone. Let's see. I need to fix the amount of gunner points that I need. I just think it's not really feasible for a gunner to be removed. Maybe I can remove a loader. Set assault tank. Anti-ricochet is fine. Here you don't need as many gunner points, but that's the wide optic, and I already have that. Over here, you're not really saving any crew. Over here, you're not really saving any crew. Over here, you're saving loaders, -2, and I already have that. I can save 1 loader with a heavy breach block. Damage is already fine. This doesn't do anything for Spall Pen. This doesn't do anything for Spall Pen. This is just optics, and that doesn't do anything for Spall Pen either. So there's not a whole lot to be changed here. Save, and work on that for the next day. Okay, go back to design. So that doesn't really move the needle as much as I'd hoped. Unfortunately. Like, we got slightly too many mechanics. I can push a mechanic into a loader. No, gunner. Like that. And that'll make the whole tank perform very well. How much is this thing gonna cost? You do need to bring this. We're gonna paint it that. And at the moment, I don't really have inspiration for a name. How much is that going to cost? 42k. Which is already a boost relative to the 46k that the Tiger 1 Breakthrough is going to cost me. Man hours for this thing is 33, for this thing is 30. That's an improvement. It looks actually fairly normal. How about that? I'm not sure that's a good thing. I like making weird tanks. Oh well. Let's see if I can make this thing cheaper. Because if I'm gonna start producing ISs, I need to make them cheaper. So we're going to save on as much as we can. If I kick this out, I'm already at 310 protection. Can I just forego this whole thing? Yep, not a problem. Can I forego the radio? It's gonna remove the commander's ability that I have. No, I don't want to do that. And it's gonna save on the driver. I can push it back to this one. It's gonna save me a whole 20. Don't worry about that. As for the alloy type, I mean, it's way too good. It's gonna cost me man hours that I don't really want to waste on that. This is gonna save me 200 man hours. Just make it worse. Can I go with the wrought iron? Yes. So that just saves me about 700 man hours and potentially a lot of cost. The diffuser headlights are 307. I don't really care for that. That's like saving 17 or so. So save that. Back to design. How much is it going to cost me now? I want to make this thing on the cheap. 33k. Oh, sorry, 37k. So that is an improvement. 46. Where else is my money going? It's going into resources, mostly. So what resources are you currently using? What's the heaviest part? The Gorange is very heavy. The Gorange is also way overperforming. I don't need it to carry as much. So if I can save some man hours there, maybe I can make this thing cheaper yet. Because currently we're looking at 171. That's already pretty much using the cheapest one. And over here we got 2050. But that's saving on the mechanic. I can also do that with this, saving it about 130 hours. I can do it with this, saving another couple 300 hours. And from there, I don't have as many mechanic points. But this, the air-sprung bogey, does what I need it to do. They won't like it as much, but hey, if the tank is still more than good enough, which I especially can get with the hard firepower. There, we're now at 36. Welcome to making your tank worse. Because it's overperforming. This one has a pretty high amount of man hours, 5,500, which comes from, I think, all of this stuff. So if I push that back down and say, well, you're going to get the oxyacetylene welded assembly, that's going to save me 700 man hours. Hybrid steel, yeah, you wish. Wrought iron is what you're getting. In typical Russian fashion, we're going to cheap out on as much of this tank as we can. This is kind of interesting, because it's it's kind of doing the opposite of what I normally do. 32k! See? What about this 32-pounder? 4,400 man hours. Yeah, the problem is the other guns don't really do it, I think. If I can save another 1,000 man hours, that'd be great. Because this thing costs me... Yeah, it's going to cost me 2.9k. But the man hours also cut into the amount of profit margin that I have. So if I could do it on cheap, I'd likely do it on the cheap. Can I push this? 3,300 man hours? No, I don't want to create a new component. I just want to add the one that I have. This. We're still we're still over. The tank is now lighter. It does the protection, it does the turret, it does the firepower, it does the firepower soft. And how much does it now cost me? Still 32k. Huh? Really? Yeah, still 32k. Okay, fine. We'll stick to the gun that I was planning on using. So that actually cut my cost down by a lot, increasing profit margin. And with the reduced weight, which is a factor for them, that helps. The protection is more than good enough. The firepower is way more than good enough. And so is firepower soft. So they should be happy with this new version of the IS. I might not be able to upsell them as much. I might not be able to push their profit margin, or rather my profit margin, as much. But I can probably still get a pretty hefty amount of money on this thing. Especially because it doesn't take as much time to build all of them. Okay, that's one whole day for that gun. And the last thing I need is the turret. How long is that going to take? A few days? 15 days. Alright, fine. Get to work. In the meanwhile, can we start shipping out those tanks? Nah, we only got 3. Okay, fine. Run it 10 times. They want tanks. Sorry, I'm a little busy. There's the new resources. Oh, we got a breakthrough. How about that? That's nice. That'll save me some time. So, let's see if we can get the IS completed. Yes, almost. All these new contracts popping up. All the time. Good lord. Can I just turn that off? Because the amount of contracts that are coming up. Like, I don't mind receiving it. I just want to pause for it. Large universal turret complete. And the Gorange tracks are complete. Assign. 46 days. Now, get a breakthrough. Get my tank ready. I want to see how this thing actually stacks up to a contract. We got 28 tanks available. I'm just going to add a couple more Shermans to the production line because I am expecting to be able to sell more of these things. So let's say I just want to build another 30. Just keep the line busy. We're looking at 30 tanks hold. I can start shipping those with El Cheapo. So get these things shipped out by El Cheapo. 1, 2, 3. Send it. Tank delivery delay to absolutely nobody's surprise. Done. And now I have another 18 ready. Now I have another 27 ready. 33 ready. Send another 30. Design complete. Alright. Oh crap, I first need to design that thing again and remove any flaws that it has. Before I either test drive it and or make sure that they want that thing. Okay, the IS-2. I've built lots of tanks so far. Test drive it. I haven't looked at mobility at all, so I have no idea how fast this thing's going to be. Well, it's not terrible. It kind of looks like an upsized T-34 married to a British turret. It actually looks remarkably normal. It's alright. It's alright. Rate of fire? Decent. Decent. Okay, good. Now, is anybody interested in buying this thing? Because I worked hard on that. That is the assault tank. You are willing to buy this, yes? They want this thing for 2,600. And they want this thing for 2,400. See, that is nice. Because that's 7k that I'm not spending on the improved bobblehead. And I can now push this. I can push this. I can push the date. And I'm getting 11 million from that contract. I unfortunately don't really have time to handle that thing because I'm still very much working on the other contract. They still need 23 tanks. Yeah, I don't really have time for that. Tank delivery delay. Wow. Ugh. The amount of accidents in the production hall are getting a little bit out of hand. Thankfully, we still have plenty of workers which are idling. That's exactly why I want an additional administrator. Okay, so we now should have the tanks ready. 22. We need one more. Hold. There. Okay, I'm going to say, Ryder & Co., off you go. We got 15 days, and we got 38 days to the deadline, so they should like that. At this point, we're already looking at a reputation boost for 60. And with those additional tanks, you're getting the 83 boost. Okay, what are we currently building? We're currently building more bobbleheads, I think, but I'm going to switch production to the IS-2. I don't really have any demand for that thing yet. But I think we can create some. Ideally, though, I want to build another tank for the Americans first, because that's going to boost my reputation with them. Can I sell them this? I can. Yeah, I can just do that. You're going to have to wait for it. If I push this lower, that doesn't expect my... or that doesn't really change my amount of revenue. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Okay. Level 48, that's fine. I can buy this for 102k. 322. This thing is 3 times better than what it needs to be. Okay, and you want 47? I will get to work. You're paying 65k for the tank, ideally. I'm asking you to pay 97, and I'm building this thing myself for 32. So we got a 300% margin on that. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. So we're just gonna build lots and lots of these boys. There. We're going to be building lots and lots of these boys. Hold on, I got insufficient workers. I need about 100 more. 103 to be exact. There we go. And they are not asking for 90 tanks, but I think I can get another contract and potentially very quickly ship these things out. So that's why I'm building a lot more of them. Tank delivery delay. I hate that company. It's just that they're the cheapest. Oh, more. More. I have more. I want more reputation with you. Is that thing shipped yet? 3 days. There we go. Contract done. 59 million. Let's start shipping in some additional resources, because I'm probably going to be building a lot of these IS-2s over the next couple of months. Let's get enough for another 100 tanks. I don't need them to come in fast. 551. Yeah, 551 is fine. We got time. Okay, let's get that American contract fulfilled with lots and lots and lots of IS-2s. Have they accepted yet? They have. Yes, I need to build, holy crap, 130 of those things. That's even more than I had initially expected to produce. Streamlined AP munitions. Good. Let's get into research. What else am I going to get? Because that was firepower, I bet. Yep. That is the better AP munition for the machine gun. So now we're going to go for the heavy machine gun. And how many tanks do I already have in store? 24. There are some other units that I think I will just not be able to sell. So let's go into the tank storage and scrap them, because I think they'll just not get used. Scrap that. Scrap 3 of the Lynxes, and I still have 1 T-34 V1. It's fine. Alright. Resources have arrived. Thank you very much. 30. Send them. Okay, we have delivered a bunch. They still want 17 more. Heavy turret research complete. How much is that going to push me? Close support, Mark 3/45. The last possible evolution of the design. This turret's multi-purpose nature is almost second to none in the field. 832 protection. 730 protection. Crew performance 296. Crew performance 292. Reliability is not that high. General stats 2882. Yeah, so it's an improvement. At this point, I've almost completed the whole tech tree. I can still get the simplified turret, but it'd be a step backwards. Instead, can I get anything else useful? Yes, how about the modernized running gear? I don't have these parts yet, so let's get those. And I want to send out that contract soonish, because I want to make money. 81 days remaining on that one. Easy. Off you go. Fuck off. Battle of Dire Dawa ended. How did my tanks do? My tank was the M3E2 Lee. By George, the tank's outstanding performance across all fronts proved to be the key to our triumph, delivering unmatched mobility on that, devastating firepower, I'll give you that one, and unwavering resilience. Okay, so they really enjoyed using that tank. How did we do regarding wounded or damaged? None. And there were no tanks lost during the deployment. Okay, but what about during the actual battle? We got an ambush victory. Nice. With its agile maneuverability, the tank danced across the battlefield, outmaneuvering the enemy and leaving a trail of victory in its wake. And because I had apparently a overperformance on most stats, especially cross-country speed, operational range, crew awareness, power unit. Okay. And targeting was a success. I mean, we're basically what? Shooting up a tier 2 tank with a tier 3. You can definitely expect some results here. Partial success, though. At least one mounted weaponry was employed to engage the enemy. Non-selected weapons. I'm not really sure about those. Hold on, those are the M5s. I don't use those. Where's that? That might be an old gun. Hit stats. Did we get critical hits? Maybe. The tank's exceptional performance in hitting the enemy targets was a sight to behold, as its shots landed with devastating accuracy. Hit score really high. All of these things are very nice. The thing is, I don't really use this tank anymore. Like, yeah, it's great, it's going to be getting fame, but this is the M3. It's not the M4. And it's definitely not the IS. Oh, they've captured something. The M1? Oh, God. No, thank you. Is there anything they might have to offer that I'd be interested in? Especially Morozov? No. I'm looking for better turrets for the tanks that I have. Like the M4 still need their better turret, and the IS need... No, the Tiger need the better turret. I just don't see them. Unfortunate. There we go. Contract delivered. That should push my reputations with the Americans up, so that I can start getting that admin. How are we doing? Oh, we're getting there. We're getting there. Alright, well that'll be it for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed the production of the IS. First making it a good tank, and then making it worse. Because it was just overperforming, and it still is. It's actually way too good for the requirement. Then again, that does allow me to make a whole lot of money off of it, so that's quite nice. Thank you for watching, hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you soon for more.